Our first guest writer here, Roberto Ampuero, born in Valparaíso, Chile in 1953, is the author of 9 novels, among them Los Amantes de Estocolmo, Stockholm Lovers, Quien mató a Christian Kusterman, Boleros de la Habana, and Halcones de la Noche, which is translated freely as Falcons in the Night, as well as a volume of short stories and a collection of essays. Among his most popular books are the series of detective novels featuring the character of Cayetano Brulé, an itinerant Cuban exile, Private Eye. Shortly after the 1973 military coup in Chile, Ampuero went into exile first in East Germany and then in Cuba, and subsequently lived in Germany and Sweden before coming to the United States in 2000. In 1999, he published a finely fictionalized memoir of his life in Cuba, Nuestros Años Verde Olivo, Our Green Olive Years, that created a great uproar in Chile and other Latin American countries upon publication. Ampuero is a former fellow of the prestigious International Writing Program of the University of Iowa, where he now teaches Latin American literature and is the director of a very successful Spanish language fiction workshop that he created a few years ago. His most recent novel, Pasiones Griegas, Greek Passions, was voted Best Spanish Language Novel of 2006 by the National People's Publishing House of China, and is currently being translated into Mandarin. Thank you, Roberto, for being here. Jorge Franco, celebrated in the New York Times as a member of Colombia's new generation of novelists, was born in Medellin. After studying film at the London Film School and literature at the Pontificia Universidad Javeriana, he made his literary debut in 1991 with Maldito Amor, a short story collection that was awarded the National Narrative Prize in Colombia. His first novel, Mala Noche, in 1997, won the Ciudad de Pereira National Novel Competition. His second novel, Rosario Tijeras, was awarded the Dashiell Hammett Prize and has been translated into 14 languages. It was brought into English by the acclaimed translator Gregory Rabassa, who decades ago introduced English-speaking readers to some of the major works of Latin American literature. And boom. The novel was also adapted into a film, and his third novel, Paradise Travel, translated by Catherine Silver and published in the United States by Farrar, Straus and Giroux last year, tells the story of 2 young lovers from Medellin who migrate to New York only to find a harsh reality that will put their dreams to test. This novel was also adapted into film, directed by Simone Bart, and featuring Colombian-born, Queens-raised John Leguizamo and Mexican actress Ana de la Reguera. In 2005, on occasion of the 4th centennial of Don Quixote, Franco contributed to a commemorative collection of essays and fiction with a short story entitled Donde se cuenta cómo me encontré con Don Quijote de la Mancha en Medellín cuando la ciudad se llenó de gigantes inventados. An approximate rendition into English of this 16th century Spanish evocative title would read something like, of how the author met Don Quixote in Medellin when the city was peopled by invented giants. Gabriel Garcia Marquez has described Franco as one of the Colombian authors I would like to pass the torch to. Pablo de Santis, before publishing his first adult novel, had a successful career as an author of young adult fiction and as a TV, cinema, and comic scriptwriter. In the 1980s, he was the general editor of Fierro, a groundbreaking adult comic magazine that is fondly remembered throughout Latin America, for all who had the occasion of reading it and enjoying it. He later published the novels Filosofía y Letras, La Traducción, the translation, that was first runner-up, Planeta Prize of Argentina in 1997, El Teatro de la Memoria, Theater of Memory, El Calígrafo de Voltaire, Voltaire's Calligrapher, and La Sexta Lámpara, the Sixth Lamp. His last novel, El Enigma de París, soon to be released in English by HarperCollins as The Paris Enigma, was unanimously selected from among 618 actually, manuscripts as the first recipient of the Planeta Casa de America Ibero-American Narrative Prize, earlier this year. His books have been published in Spain and Latin America and translated into French, German, Italian, Portuguese, and Russian. Last but not least, Maria Negroni, who was also born in Argentina, longtime resident in the United States, is one of the finest Spanish-language contemporary poets. She has published 10 books of poetry, of which Islandia and Night Journey have appeared in English by Station Hill Press and Princeton University Press, respectively. She has also published 3 books of essays, Ciudad Gótica, Museo Negro, and El Testigo Lúcido, The Lucid Witness, approximately, and 2 novels, El Sueño de Úrsula, Ursula's Dream, that was first runner-up Planeta Prize 1997, and La Anunciación, 2007, as well as a book object, Buenos Aires Tour, in collaboration with Argentine artist Jorge Macchi. Maria is also the translator into Spanish of works by Louise Labbé, Valentin Penrose, Georges Bataille, H.D., and Charles Simic. Her poems, essays, and translations have been widely published in the most prestigious literary magazines in Spain, Latin America, and the US, such as Diario de Poesía in Argentina, Mandorla in Mexico, the Paris Review, and Bomb here in the United States. Among her many distinctions, she received the National Book Award for her collection of poems, Night Journey, and the 2001 PEN Award for Best Book of Poetry translation for Islandia. She directs, with critic Jorge Monteleone, a poetry magazine edited in Buenos Aires called Abyssinia, and teaches Latin American literature at Sarah Lawrence College. Thank again you all for being here with us, and thank you for being present tonight. Without further ado, the mechanics for this event will be each writer will have 5 minutes and another wrap-up. I will indicate you after 5 minutes just to start wrapping up the presentation. And after their speech, we welcome your questions. You'll see that in the center of the aisle would be a microphone. You can file up there, and that would be it. After the event, you've been handled some forms. Those of you who haven't contacted us before, we're on the reservation list. I kindly ask you if you're so kind to write your information there so we can establish contact with you in the future. And so, without further ado, Roberto Ampuero first.